Hello everybody, today I wanted to talk about a few different albums that have been influential in my musical kind of identity. I'll talk about each one a little bit and how they've developed my sound and the band's sound and how I've approached the guitar and writing music. So number one is Dragon Force's album The Power Within. This was probably the first album I ever owned, and it really showed me the kind of capability of shredding on the guitar, and Herman Lee's always been a big influence on my playing. I think if you watch how I do a lot of legato playing and the shred aspect of Divided by Design, you'll see where that kind of comes from. I remember hearing the first track on that and blown away by the vocals. I'd never heard anything kind of that epic before, and those were the first kind of tracks I'd ever learned on the guitar, and I remember spending hours sitting trying to figure out how to play them and watching Herman Lee play and trying to dissect that. So the second album that was really influential on my playing was Dream Theater's Metropolis Part 2, Scenes from a Memory. This was the first proper concept album I listened to and understood it was a concept, and I didn't know what it was about after the initial listen. I always wanted to go back and kind of figure out what the story was, and I've always been intrigued by concept albums since then, and that's why a lot of our music has lots of different motifs that keep coming back. So the third big influential album for me was Coheed and Cambria's In Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth 3. Similar to Dream Theater, I just really loved how Coheed incorporated a concept across all of their albums. It's kind of an approach I've been wanting to adopt for Divided by Design. It's not as in your face as them, but there are definitely themes that have passed throughout the albums that we've released. I like the grandiose nature of having a multi-conceptual discography. Another big influential album for me, and technically this is two albums, but I'm going to lump them as one, which is Periphery's Alpha and Omega album. These opened my eyes to the more progressive metal bands and kind of what you can do with that sound and the gent formula. Before then I wasn't massively into really heavy music, so this really opened my eyes to that and allowed me to incorporate heavier sounds into how I write. The final album that I think was really influential was Steve Vai, Passion and Warfare. Steve Vai is by far my favourite player, and a lot of my mannerisms when I play and the nuances I've tried to adopt from him and develop into my own style. But I remember hearing For the Love of God for the first time and being blown away by that playing. I'd never heard anything quite like that before, kind of the control he has over the guitar and what he's able to do with the instrument. So I really think these 5 albums kind of the essential backbone to our sound and what really dictated how I approach writing music and playing the guitar and performing. So if you haven't heard any of these albums, I recommend checking them out and let me know what you think about them in the comments, or if any of these are your favourites.